Well, listeners, you are in for such a treat today. We are so excited to welcome Chuck Hezekiah with Rene Furtherer onto our program. Chuck has just a wealth of information. Before I share a lot of that, and before we dive into the episode, though, my favorite line and quote from Rene Furtherer, just so you understand who they are and why we've invited Chuck on today, is the quote states, "Beautiful hair grows from a healthy scalp, like a plant in fertile soil." So then today we're going to tie the two together on how do we create fertile hair follicles when we have situations with Hashimoto's, stress, and other forms of hair loss. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello. Thank you for listening to Thyroid Hair Loss Connection podcast, a science-based, honest, candid conversation about how your thyroid affects your hair. You will learn practical solutions to hair growth, healing your thyroid, and balancing hormones with holistic nutrition approach and the latest treatments. Your hosts, me, Nataliia Sanzo, a registered dietitian, aka Nashville thyroid expert, and Kimberly Vaughn, a board-certified trichologist, hair loss specialist, and coach. To stay up to date on the latest topics, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We also cannot do this without you. Send us a question to the link below and tune in each week for the answers. Now, let's head to the show. Chuck, thank you so much for joining our Thyroid Hair Loss Connection podcast. We're so lucky to have you here. You flew in just to see us. Ha ha ha. Of course, you have other, business to attend here in Nashville, but thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. We're excited to hear and learn a little bit more about the company, Rene Furtherer. Man, that's a mouthful. Okay, yes, I'm just going to make a lot of mistakes this episode. But we also, just to kind of get our listeners up to speed, Kimberly and I, we see a lot of people with Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, and they all have hair loss, either complete, shedding or balding, autoimmune hair loss like alopecia areata. So we are very excited to hear about products and to see if your products can help our listeners. So tell us, let's start, maybe you can share a little bit more about your position and why scalp and hair health are so important to you.
Thank you so much. And first, thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure to come in and talk about something that I'm very, very passionate about, which is scalp health and hair health. Rene Furtherer is a company that's been around for over 65 years. And as you were saying, the whole philosophy is beautiful hair grows from a healthy scalp. Now, we know with Hashimoto's that it is an autoimmune disease, so it can happen and then it stops happening. It's sort of what we call a reactional hair loss, or a sudden and temporary. It's temporary because it will shed for a while and then it stops shedding. But we really do have great products, and starting out with something called a scalp treatment. And that scalp treatment is something that's simple enough to just use once a week. And that really makes things easier, so you're not having to do things every day. But the scalp treatment is called Complex 5, and it's a combination of orange and lavender oil. And this you put on the scalp, you massage it in a dry, dirty scalp, rub it in, and you leave it on for just 10 minutes before you shampoo your hair. And that's the first step to scalp health. It's kind of like a facial for the scalp. And that really starts things off.
Wow. Chuck, so this is exciting. And I know you have so many amazing therapies and treatments for our listeners, but, I don't like Dr. Google. And our listeners go online all day long and look at billions, and I'm saying with a B, yes, billions of products. Take us back, though. Why is Rene Furtherer so focused on the scalp? I mean, this goes back, to 1957?
His first product, the one that I mentioned, Complex 5, was actually created in 1957, and he was actually a colorist. and he did double process blonding. And if you know a little bit about double process, the scalp can sometimes get a little irritated.
Sometimes? Or you mean that it just gets burnt?
It gets slightly burnt.
Yes.
Exactly. And it creates that little scab that a lot of people who get double processed know about. But what he did was created this product that was going to deep cleanse the scalp. Think of it like a facial for your scalp. And when it deep cleanses, it removes excess dead skin, sebum, product buildup, all of those things that kind of clog the scalp. And that was his first initial intro into this. But in the 1980s, he merged with a pharmaceutical company called Pierre Fabre. And their main area of research is oncology and immunology. And so we have that pharmaceutical background. We are a naturally based company, but it's pharmaceutical grade natural ingredients because we're really dealing with people like with Hashimoto's, with compromised immune systems. And that's really where we come from.
Right. So then the damaged scalp from chemicals and products and even, hot water and showers with the wrong products, right? When we bring that full circle, though, this Complex 5 product that you mentioned a moment ago, how does that make a difference to those individuals who are dealing with, one, either a very sensitive, tender scalp, which we know that can be caused by different forms of autoimmune and certainly Hashimoto's, right? And that roller coaster telogen shed that we see. So we have that problem going on for our listeners. Then we also have this problem of that shedding. And then we also have this tenderness and burning or pain that they're experiencing, sometimes with seasonal hair loss. So it's all things, right? Scalp issues.
Yes.
So you said Complex 5 has orange and
lavender. So the orange has citric acid, which is an exfoliator, and the lavender actually helps to break down sebum. So I'm glad that you brought up the point of sensitivity because we recommend that it can be left on for up to 10 minutes. Now, sometimes when I say 10 minutes, people go, I don't have that much time. I don't know how I'm going to fit this into my day. And I'm going to give you a little insider's tip. I keep mine in the shower and I put it on, and it's as simple as I put it on, I rub it in, and I wash it off. And if you're starting to feel that sensitivity coming on quickly, you can wash it off quicker than maybe the 10 minutes. I always say it's kind of like exercise. A little bit still does something. And by doing that, not only is it exfoliate, but the best part is that it stimulates the blood flow to the scalp. And I always say it's like bringing food up to the rooftop so that people can dine, so that your follicles can actually feed. And by bringing that stimulation, microstimulation to the scalp, you actually bring your natural blood flow, which is a natural way to help feed the scalp.
And heal.
Exactly.
That's right.
Those are great points and tips to start using that product if you don't have 10 minutes. But what I found in my personal life, the way I use, Kimberly has incredible products in her office with niacin, I believe, and they also kind of stimulates, right, the blood flow. So what I do, I apply it to my scalp, massage it before I even think about getting in the shower. And then I wait 10 minutes and then I start running my shower and everything. So is that something our listeners can do? Can they apply that product, go walk around, walk their dog or whatever, and then get in the shower?
Well, there's every way to do this, and definitely we recommend that you do. I love that you have the luxury time of 10 solid minutes to be able to do this. I guess I'm really impatient, so and maybe not because I'm not dealing with it. I take it a little bit lighter. But yes, they can put it on, give it a little massage, and the stimulation will happen. There is another form that we make called Astera Fresh, and that's more for a very, very sensitive scalp. And that's peppermint, eucalyptus, and asteraceae. And the botanical name asteraceae literally means echinacea. So it's all about cooling and soothing a very, very irritated scalp. I love the little stingle we get from Complex 5 because that means it's working and exfoliating and really bringing that blood flow to the scalp, which is so important. And just like an exfoliator for your face, where it's going to make your serums and your makeup go on better, by exfoliating the scalp, the next steps, which is the shampoo and the serum that we put on afterwards, it actually, by using Complex 5 first, you get a 10 times better penetration of the necessary ingredients in the serum, which is what makes the hair grow. And that's the best part.
Okay, so, we don't have the availability for all of our clients to see this actual process right now, but we're going to share some videos with them in the episode notes here shortly. But just for a good visual, so let me back this up. So Nataliia, when you go have a facial, right, what is the first thing that they do to your skin?
They clean it
and then
exfoliate it.
Exactly, right? So exactly, Chuck, then to your point is that we have to remove the debris on the scalp. But in our world, in the world of trichology and scalp health, we have to do it very gently. And so to Natalia's point, with some pre-treatment products, with niacin, she actually has the opportunity and availability to leave that product on 10 minutes. And certainly we know that that is the best line of defense to really start to help break that debris on the scalp down. But Chuck, what's great about the product from Rene Furtherer is that you can use it maybe daily instead of 2 or 3 times a week by just leaving it on for a few minutes for that individual who's coming in and out of the shower very quickly and has limited time. So that's really a great place to kick this off. Now, so taking us to scalp health, tell me why Rene Furtherer then built these 2 platforms for different forms of hair loss. And as our listeners are here with us, it's because they've either experienced this reactional hair loss or they've experienced a progressive form of hair loss. So could you take us down those 2 lines of products and why the importance for Rene Furtherer? Why is this different than any other product, right, that's out there?
Oh, sure. And just to elaborate on what you were saying earlier, what's really great about the Complex 5, it's a once a week. Now, I know people sometimes say, maybe if I do it more often, it really is a treatment. Think about a facial mask. You're not doing it every day. You really do it once a week so that it doesn't overstimulate. Mm-hmm. But I do have a little tip, is the next step we would do with Complex 5 is that you would use a triphasic shampoo and conditioner. But I have a little tip for you. When we're in the salon, we tend to take the shampoo and apply it dry directly on top of the Complex 5. And that shuts off the sensation, that sort of strong sensation of exfoliation. And so what we do it, fancy in the salon with a brush and a bowl, but I recommend to the clients out there that a great way to get a deeper cleanse on your scalp is to go and buy a little applicator bottle with a pointy tip. And you can literally just squirt your shampoo onto your scalp, rub it in dry before you wash it. Think about it. When you wash your hands when they're really dirty, you might take your hand soap and rub it in. So this is an easy way. So you do your Complex 5 and you go, starting to tingle a little bit. You can apply the shampoo and that cools things down, then a little conditioner, and then you'd rinse that out. The last step, which is the important step you were talking about, is that we have 2 serums. One's triphasic reactional, which would be perfect for Hashimoto's or thyroid disease. And what they can do is apply the serum directly after they shampoo, towel dry, and apply the serum directly to the scalp. It's a great way to have it penetrate and work. Now, this is for somebody who has reactional, meaning that it happens and then it doesn't, and then it happens and then it doesn't. And that's something easy because you can go on that for about 3 months. A package of 12 is once a week, so you get 3 months worth of product. For me, as I'm getting older, I am experiencing progressive thinning, which is age-related, hormonally related, and this is what happens as we get a little older. And this is the same thing. You do the same first steps, but the big difference is the serum at the end. And it's a progressive serum. It just has different active ingredients. Brazilian ginseng, rosemary, orange. These are wonderful natural ingredients that help stimulate growth for progressive. So the first steps are all the same, but just they tweak it a little bit because reactional is very fast. And then progressive is slow. You almost don't even notice it happening. It happens over time, where with reactional, you notice fallout. But not so much as I get older. I don't really notice fallout. I just notice that my hairline is creeping back towards the back of my head.
And that's called miniaturization.
Correct. Correct.
Yes. So then what I'm getting is your 4 steps, more or less, right? Mm-hmm. So whether I have reactional or progressive, I'm going to start with the scalp health treatment. Mm-hmm. That's going to be once a week. Mm-hmm. Is that for both progressive and reactional?
For both, yes.
Okay. So that's nice. You could do that on the weekends, right? You have plenty of time. I mean, or you can be like Nataliia and have another cup of coffee and just hang out for 10 more minutes.
Well, when I see clients, and majority, of course, I work with people with Hashimoto's, our hair loss is significant. And when it happens, so some people, it pretty much destroys their life. I mean, It's emotional burden that we carry. So trust me, when you have Hashimoto's related hair loss, we do everything it takes to get to the root cause and to stop the progression of hair loss. So yes, I will take another cup of coffee and I will do every step properly.
Yes. Oh, no. And that is so important that you brought that up, Nataliia, because, when we have clients coming in, so many individuals are saying, well, this has just started, or I see this every spring, every fall, every quarter. Why is this happening, right? And so that's when we have to start digging into, our labs and our blood work and all of our testing tools. So yes, it's so important. But so that's good, though. I mean, we're only talking about these 4 steps. So the scalp health, starting with either the progressive or the reactional. Then we move into the triphasic products that are cleansing the scalp. And again, focusing on the scalp again, which I love because, yes, we certainly need treatment for our hair, but so many times what our listeners have a hard time understanding, and it's because no one's really helped them understand or explain or educate, is that the pH and the balance of your scalp and of your hair are completely different. And so they truly have to be treated differently. And so then moving through with the shampoo, the conditioner, and then that 4th step is then truly where Rene Furtherer has specialized then on the natural treatments, right? These are natural treatments. Yes. They've been formulated by a pharmaceutical company with botanicals. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so then you have this reactional program or you have this progressive program. So that's amazing. And within all of these lines and within these treatments, how does someone know exactly what is happening? I mean, if they're diagnosed with a thyroid condition, as Nataliia and I, preach out every episode, is making sure they have proper diagnoses. If they don't have that, but they're starting to shed, and it could be a telogen and effluvian shed. So they're having a lot of shedding. We've seen this so much with long COVID, with vaccinations. What do they just automatically think and say, okay, I should look at the reactional line, or what should they do?
That's a great question because it's one of the things I try and teach, an easy way to kind of recognize the difference. We noticed with reactional, which is fast and furious. Usually I'll ask a client, do you notice any changes in your hair within the last 6 months? And if they say, yes, I notice it's coming out fast, that's the time to react. As soon as you notice that it's coming out fast is when you want to deal with it. Because with some, like as you were talking about reactional or post-COVID or any of these things, it happens about 3 months after the trigger. And so they will notice that it happens very, very quickly. The hair falls out very, very fast. When we're talking about progressive, it's slow and steady. They'll notice the change over a couple of years that they'll notice there's less and less. And the sooner that you deal with either of them, people say I don't want to be high maintenance, but the sooner you deal with it, the better it is, because Reactional was actually originally designed as a post-chemotherapy treatment. When people were losing all of their hair. And it really is about autoimmune.
And it's also about being sensitive to that gentle scalp and allowing those follicles to start taking hold of that cell proliferation and that cell healing that's truly well below the surface of the skin.
Correct.
Oh, great point. That's really important.
Chuck, thank you so much for explaining the difference in between types of hair loss and the two product lines that you have. But can people that don't really have either reactionary or progressive thinning, but they just want a little bit fuller hair? There's never too much hair for most people. So can just healthy people, in quotation marks, or healthy scalp and hair, can they use that product line?
Well, see, the benefit of this, and that's a great question, because everybody who has a scalp can actually benefit from scalp wellness. And so as Christmas is coming up, the holidays are coming up, this is a perfect gift to give to somebody, your son who notices his hairline's going back, mom who notices her hair is not as thick as it used to be, dad who's getting a little shinier on top. Everybody can benefit. It's like a facial for the scalp, and so everybody can benefit from scalp wellness.
You've been a wealth of information today, and we're so excited that you've come to join us. And I know you stepped outside your box and got into a little chillier weather with us today, so we appreciate it. But more importantly, for the listener, we want you to understand that we gave you just a plethora of information here in a very short period of time. So don't forget to go to the episode notes. We're going to add some links in of Rene Furtherer USA YouTube channel that'll give you step-by-step on how to perform these treatments. The other thing is, don't ever forget, HPI Hair Partners is also an ambassador and an educator with Rene Furtherer. So we will be presenting and also performing all of these scalp treatments in our clinics. So don't hesitate to reach out. And as always, we love sharing time with you listeners, and we're so excited that you find wealth and prosperity in our episodes, but also know that we value your comments, your questions, and all your feedback. So we're excited to hear from you, and we want you to make it a great day. Bye-bye.